Hey everybody, it's me, True Powers Mind, and this is Special Report. I just got finished uploading a Patreon exclusive video. I will have more content coming out, exclusive Mark from Anaheim, Judge Joe Brown, other material unreleased as of yet. So, a lot of exciting things happening. Oh, that one. Got a lot of stuff going on in the background. What can I say? Oops. Hold on, I want to adjust my. There. Adjust the camera. So it's just so perfect. You know, kind of jumping right into it. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to see or read the headlines today, but there was a plane crash in Ethiopia today. Those who saw the broadcast last night, um, we talked about cheap Chinese parts. Oh, today's date, by the way, is March 11th, 2019, the year of our Lord. We're all so blessed. Yet again, we can come together and learn something new today. Or at least that's our goal. But back to what I was talking about with the plane crash in Ethiopia. I would summarize as we go down this road, events like this will become more and more common. Um, that's the price that you pay for, cheap goods, so that you can keep rolling your buses and all that. I mean, when I think, hold on, I need to grab I'm gonna grab this one over here and pull it off while we have this. I don't understand how come this isn't bigger though. No, uh, yeah, live productions. But let me jump up here to the news on a side note. That page. There was also something else. Yeah, really. Oh, that camera is tilted. Kind of funny. I'm glad nobody's here to see this, even though it's live. But it's a good thing. There. Ethiopian flight crashes shortly after takeoff. 157 dead. Second Boeing 737 MAX crash in months. New planes. It doesn't matter how new or old your plane is if the parts are crap. That's what it is. Shocking poll. Half of young Americans want to live in socialist nation. Like I said in past shows, please, if you haven't seen the past shows, check them out. But once again, this shows you that it's not this generation you're dealing with. It will be the next generations that will literally throw you into the ovens. What happens when the next poll comes? Half of young Americans wants to live in a Luciferian satanic nation openly. Just consider that. Is it a reality? Is it uh, manifesting tangibly right now? No. The reason why I say no is because you can't just Google, hey, are Luciferian, Satanists, evil people in control of the government? There's no tangible, nothing out there. Other than events that occur. But you have to be very careful how you link all that together. But those who feel the spirit, man, they understand what I'm saying. I'm just scanning through. ABC News reporter, reckoning if Mueller doesn't find collusion. Robo reporting, gaining traction. Like I say, automation is more than meets the eye. Heck, what I'm doing right now could be automated. My name is Truthsayer 2000. Beep, beep. We are going to find the truth today. You know, come on. Nobody's safe out here. That's why it's so important for us to have a one accord and we're all on the same page. And I ask myself, how can we achieve this? How can we achieve getting reparations? How can we achieve healing this nation? How can we achieve the American dream for all? Enough of we can't. Enough of it won't happen. It's time to use the most powerful weapon we have, and it is our words. And the implied meaning behind said words. Okay. This inside illegal massage parlors, typical. They're blaming women now for fat kids. You know, women going to work, trying to keep their family fed and have a life. Bad thing. Once again, I'm not going to roll away from that. Scientists blame working mothers for children's obesity epidemic. Instead of pointing fingers at mom, why not point the finger at the burger? Point the finger at the high fructose corn syrup in the bun. Point the finger at the artificial fillers and preservatives in the meat and in the bun. Point the fingers at the scientists who designed all these, probably IG Farben and crew, all these additives that are going into this child's burger, not to mention the fries and the drink. Oop. Now it's not mom, it's IG Farben and Monsanto and them. Oh, don't forget about the lovely Roundup too. That's also probably in that burger. No meal is complete without fluoride, aspartame, and glyphosate. Welcome to America. Yes, welcome indeed. After more than 140 years, a massive fig tree gracing the plaza where Los Angeles was founded collapses. But on a brighter note, for the second time in 2 years, the California's seen a super bloom. The desert's turning green. Amazing what water can do. And then, here we go. Jaguar attacks. Pretty sad. So busy taking a selfie, you don't, see this beast creeping up on you. Look, mom, I'm out. I mean, we're not even talking to mom. Let's be real. Look, babe or hun or deer or woman or whatever. I'm over here by the mountain. Oh, he wasn't even in the mountain. My bad. I should have read full headline. Actually, in the zoo. It is 1 o'clock in the morning here. It's like the early morning. Generation X. Existential panic after Luke Perry's death. well, guys, you're gonna die. It's just gonna happen. 116 Japanese woman confirmed as world oldest person. Now, let's go into here. A lot of the reason why Japanese women or Japanese people live because they're so close to those coral minerals. Those coral minerals that can take out fluoride in your water and, or not fluoride, but chlorine in your drinking water. That stuff helps the body turn that pH up in the blood. Get the acid out so virus and bacteria don't have a breeding ground. And you start feeling better. I need to get my hands on some of that coral mineral stuff. Increasing human lifespan could turn people into walking, or increasing human lifespan could turn people into walking zombies, warns experts. Okay, what's the difference between that and what's going on now? Most people are walking zombies. It's all about them. It's all about blah, blah, blah. FDR races, Cortez blessed capitalism as irredeemable system. Yes, and her little socialistic system is going to be so much better. With Barney in charge. As much as things change, they stay the same. Rural sheriff defies new gun measures. That's interesting. Tucker Carlson refused to apologize for unearthing naughty comments. And the rest of it is just as flippity as floppity. Okay. So obviously the big stories are the plane crash in Ethiopia. Once again, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to believe me. But it should be so obvious at this point. The programming. And the programming is this. You will fall into prey into always saying, I can't, or it couldn't, or it shouldn't, or it wouldn't. They use your own power, the words you use. They get you to use it against yourself. Just by having terms like the global elite, superiority, supremacy, the battle's already gone. We have to change the way we talk, the way we eat, the way we drink. I mean, those of us who are older already know this. This is for you younger folks. Or else by the time you get to our age, you're too far gone. Too far gone. Now, I did have, hold on 1 second. I had something I wanted to share. I think it's funny. Hold on. I gotta go to my messages. I wish I had some sort of, copyright free music that I could be playing while I'm doing some of this. What the? Okay. Now maybe it'll pop up right. Okay. This is winter, spring. This is from Mark from Anaheim. I want to share this with you guys. I had to pull it off my message box. Okay. Come on, Grace. Don't fail me now, girl. Let's see what you got.
Winter Spring 2019. There's been no end to public outcry ever since HBO's Leaving Neverland premiered at Sundance Film Festival in January. The painful two-part HBO documentary, which details the alleged sexual abuse that two men endured from Jackson, has resulted in a variety of responses. Many have condemned Jackson's actions and taken steps to disassociate with the King of Pop, but still others are choosing to not believe the singer's accuses and denouncing the film. The details unearthed in Leaving Neverland have resulted in a permanent tainting of the powerful singer's legacy. Radio stations have begun pulling Jackson's music from their sets, and the one-time earning power of the Jackson estate is now in question. Variety, March 8, 2019.
Okay. Now, that was 2019. I'm pulling up something from 2014, okay? And once again, I want to cite this as coming from Mark from Anaheim, so that everybody gets the proper credit, because I don't want to not be given credit where obviously credit is certainly due. Okay, now this is coming from the spring of 2014, going back in time.
Those Nazis did not go back to Germany after Spring 2014. While most media sources will not talk about it, I am no stranger to Isla Vista. I laugh when such folks as Oprah Winfrey, Michael Jackson, Rip, and Snoop Dogg buy homes in exclusive areas of Santa Barbara County. Jackson did. And I suspect Winfrey and Snoop will one day regret it too. That county is rife with some of the wealthiest bigots in the U.S. Heck, Vandenberg AFB was Camp Cook, which was used to house German POWs during World War II. Those Nazis did not go back to Germany after the war. Rather, they settled in Santa Barbara County, Los Angeles County, and Orange County. The waves are not so good, and I only surf at Vandenberg Air Force Base, because I know what many Santa Barbara County surfers are like. Isla Vista is a haven for the sons and daughters of wealthy folks. Many of these parents had no child-rearing skills and now simply pay their children to live away from home. Many of these brats are alcoholics, heavily into drugs, heavily into satanic worshipping, and many of them are hardcore bigots. Sexual assaults and attacks against women is far more common than ever reported, while the media jumps all over the misogynist rants of Elliot Rodgers. I have only seen a few not-so-well-known sources which also cite his bigoted views. Fact is, Rodgers killed those co-eds because they were white, refused to date him, but later dated black students and students from
I want to hear the rest. Oh, from India. Mark from Anaheim. May 24th, 2014. Now, I want to say that is true. See, when I had the pleasure of living in the great state of California, I also had the pleasure of talking to locals like I did back home. This is natural. I guess I'm just a natural talker. And they shared with me how, and these were predominantly minority women, how they have been raped up north there in that area at parties, typically, or get-togethers. With the whole drugging and partying, yeah, that's right on the mark. I say this to tell you that we often think that somehow, some way, what we're into or what we're doing is so cutting edge, but it's truly not. There's nothing cutting edge about it, seriously. The one thing that can make anything cutting edge is that there's a positive outcome. Like, you might have to do some extreme things to achieve, and that's the clarity, a purpose, and then the cause. This should be the outcome. Like, what's going to happen? What's going to be the conclusion of this? But when you look around and you look at what's cracking out here in the real world, the conclusion, well, it's pretty obvious. It's death. Artificially induced death. Post-birth. I don't know if they want to call it a retro abortion or not. I'm looking at my True Powers Mind Facebook site, and I got a lot of questions about Agenda 21. I got a lot of questions about Agenda 21. So, what's up, brother? Cobra Immortal, welcome to the show. Listen. Oh, and by the way, this is TPM Special Report Live. That's what we're bringing now. So it's TPM Special Report Live. Still the same symbol, changing the show's name, just to add a little variety. But when we talk about issues like misogyny, what's up, brother Muhammad? Or sister Muhammad, I believe. My bad. Twila, welcome to the show. And peace back at you. When we talk about issues, like once again, misogyny, child abduction, government corruption, industry propaganda, and debased spiritual teachings. We're talking about who's running our show now, who's running the government now, who's running the banks now, who's running the temples and churches now, who's running them synagogues now. Not 50, 60 million years ago. A lot of the reasons why our society is crashing and burning is because of Agenda 21. And without further ado, let's go there. Let's talk about Agenda 21, yeah. It's unity or death. Agenda 21.
According to Wikipedia, Agenda 21 is a non-binding action plan of the United Nations with regard to sustainable development.
With regards to sustainable development, really. It is a product of the Earth Summit UN Conference on environment and development, held in Rio de Janeiro back in 1992. Now, the important thing about that, what was going on in 1992? You know, we had just came off the major victory of the first Gulf War, you know, the 100-hour war. Why was the United States, don't forget, at this point in time, let's put this in chronological perspective. The United States already entered into the liberal New World Order back in the 50s. It's already has been basically presidential, executive branch, debased by the Bohemian Groves. All the meetings they were having in the 1930s throughout the 40s. The reality is this here. Either we get with a program that's being given to us, meaning that you actually conform, you become, you know, you go ahead and take your little chip and you go and march out the door as if you're part of the winning team. And in the end, this individual that chooses us, I want you to know, as a human being, before the fall's coming, I understand why you do that. I don't agree. I sincerely have sympathy for you. Because once you start implanting them chips and you go down the transhumanist route, there is no transition from human. You're just basically showing who is your true master. You're just basically showing you serve self. And that's what it is. Now, for those brothers and sisters who's going to perish because you refuse to take the chip, that you die hoping the Most High will come back and save you from all that, I want you to know that at least you pass with dignity and honor. Now, here on earth, that don't get you too much real estate. It really doesn't. But in the world to come, it gets you everything. You hold fast to your fundamental teachings, and you hold fast to what you know is right and wrong. Now, to the other set. Oh, goodness, you guys. There's always three. Always comes in threes. To the ones who choose to resist, basically by any means necessary, you guys go off grid, you hack systems, you gather resources for your units or your collectives, or let's just say your associations. You know that you guys will be labeled outlaws. And like the great history and tradition of social outlaws, you guys will go down duly noted. At least you guys will be remembered for humans who, unlike your pacifist brethren that just, wilt away into the darkness, which that is their prerogative. There's no shaming on that. In some respects, you can almost say they're more courageous because they did not link up into the network to resist everything. But to the ones who actually take the stand and do the thing, and no other human beings are harmed by your actions other than on paper, but not in reality. You guys are truly more precious than any golden bar, platinum, ingot, large diamond, ruby. You guys represent the essence of freedom that I'm talking about on a daily basis. You guys represent the notions of the eternal human struggle against those that are bent on subjugating us all, those who are bent on constantly controlling and manipulating our lives. That's been going on for an extremely long time on this planet. And we're finally entering the age to where it could truly happen once again. Everyone will be monitored. Shows like this will not exist. You'll probably only find this particular program on the dark web somewhere tucked away safely. And that's only because of hackers coming to the YouTube, breaking into the Patreon, grabbing up stars off videos off the stars, putting it together and putting it in vaults. Because this information I will only share with humanity, not a segment, not a sub-portion, but all because it is our eternal birthright to be unified as one species. To go forward, to lay claim to our cosmic manifest destiny. But seeing how we have been utterly bastardized and debased here on earth by our own, no doubt. And what I mean by own, as evil as people want to try to pretend they are, in reality, they're just humans. Now, of course, we all know, and let's not pretend it does not exist. Demon possession allows the host vessel or the person being possessed to appear to be in control of supernatural gifts or curses, however you want to look at it. But in reality, that's just the demon manifesting its basically fourth dimensional power through that 3D body. But at the end of the day, it's almost sad to wonder what tragedy had to occur into that brother or sister's lives to make them so far gone to willingly want to have demons possess them. We have to get to the point to where the character of an individual, let me break it down like this. Let's say that there was some information that came out and it was readily accepted by academia, suggesting that in the past there was a civilization. The reason why we see the biodiversity in the world today is because of ancient genetic manipulation. There's tons of actual data that shows they were taking man and splitting him down and creating this race and that race with certain attributes that would explain the differences and blah, blah, blah. But at the same time, that would explain why everybody can come together and make babies, blah, blah, blah. And then that would also give people another layer to be defined and realize their potential based upon past events that they had no control over, past consequences that they are still being punished for. That's why I say, I claim the gift of life. I claim using the power of the present to make a brighter future. Not to be diminished by the tales, the stories, and the information of the past. Do you often wonder why very wealthy people seldom have wealthy confidants or wealthy people that they grew up with as babies and blah, blah, blah? It's because I don't care who you are. You go back to the place where your origins, unless you've done something totally spectacular, some sort of hero or something. The first thing people do when you come back and you haven't seen, they start bringing up stuff from the past, depending on their relative, interaction with you, whether it be negative or positive. They do that to psychologically. People, they don't want to hear about the truth about Agenda 21. And this is one of those issues. I changed thought here real quick. But Agenda 21 is one of these issues that it's best for the listener to research themselves for one reason. You get up here on this horn, this microphone, and you start saying these things, the algorithm picks it up, you become demonetized, and you become banned. I know this audience. You guys are incredibly sharp. You're thirsty and hungry for the truth. And at the core, you're good human beings. There's going to come a time where my true words will be known. Where you guys will really get the essence of what I'm saying. It's going to be flesh versus metal. As it always inevitably clash. There's so many of us who hate humanity. They hate the flesh in all of its wonders and glory. They pervert it, they distort it, and they debase it. They corrupt it, they infect it, and they kill it. And those we call scientists. We do. You guys know I'm not lying. These scientists don't give a damn. Some of them will openly tell you straight up. They'll openly tell you straight up that they have no love for humanity. I don't know why. I truly don't. I wish I did, but maybe they have bad mothers, bad fathers. Maybe they're just asswipes themselves. Sometimes evil doesn't need to be qualified by a parent. More times than not, they're just evil to begin with. So how do we fight them? For one, because we live in a... What's up, War? Welcome to the show, brother. How do we fight them? Thank God we live in a country to where we can vote. Now, some of it is just going to be a voting deal. Straight up. You're going to have to understand, you can play the game, you can vote for who you think, who's righteous and all that good stuff. Or you can realize we got to look at the track record. I'm going to tell you like this. Every black politician that when asked about the issue, what's up, David? Welcome to the show, buddy. That asked about the issue of reparation, and if they come up with the words can't, cannot, blah, 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 do not vote for that man or woman. Do not vote for them. Because as politicians, they should be using the positive power of words. Instead of saying, we can't have reparations, y'all. Where's my dinner and where's my campaign contributions? We should be saying, how could we make this a possibility? What would be the positive ramifications if the people were properly given this economic hand up? How could that make the country stronger? Why would it be in every American's best interest to ensure their next door neighbor has economic mobility potential? Those are the words politicians should be using. Agenda 20. Now let's get to the chat room. Brother Albert in the house. Man, I almost... It's really, really dark over here. Drowned by their lust to be powerful, and when Lucifer gives them the taste, they go crazy mad. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. War, glad to be here. Glad to have you, brother. Okay, now David, Agenda 21, Rex 84, I can dig it. However, just peep Rod Sterling, serving man, get on that spaceship and just bounce. Whoa. Please, I else will never, ever. Whoa. But that's the whole thing we're talking about tonight, David. We're talking about the power of our words. Irregardless to where you accept, you do realize that everything on this planet starts off, as far as we're concerned, starts off with words. Every invention, every book, every poem, every novel, every screenplay, Everything, even the words I'm using tonight, have power. And so does yours. Yes, Muhammad. Literally, words in a, I guess, a new agey way of saying it. Words are the vibration coming from your inner energy being forced out into the universe through your tongue and mouth, echoing off of things seen and unseen, and really affecting change in a tangible way to where you see it in your day-to-day operations. Yes, every word, both negative and positive. That's why the Greeks, if I may, had a saying: a man who listens to the wrong type of music becomes the wrong type of man. It's really basic. And then you understand the foundation of any effective propaganda. See my words? Absolutely. Absolutely, David, you got it. Once we change our perception, now we change the world. The tongue is mightier than the pen, which is mightier than the sword. Which the sword is mightier than flesh, so let's get that real too. We have to use our power effectively, not half-heartedly, not cowardly. We have to use it to uplift one another, to heal ourselves, to heal our nation. But we also have to accept the reality. Just as you have power, the next man has power as well. And as the voice of the debased, the voice of, dare I say, the unrighteous gets louder and stronger, so does the effect that they will inevitably have. Now, I just want to have a life where people can do their little thing, basically just enjoy their lives. Because I already know that the real problem with the planet, conscious magic. See that? All these little things will let you know what they're really about. And that's kind of cool. Different crystals. I mean, have you guys even thought about that for 1 second? We've been flying around, allegedly, on this planet for the past 3.5 billion years. According to science, I'm going down the scientific yellow brick road. But we have the audacity to believe that this is the apex of existence. Like, there's never been a civilization that built anything or made anything. Because I remember in a history class when I was a young boy, and I asked the teacher, because growing up in the woods, you notice things. Like an old 5-gallon heavy plastic bucket. You'll see it there in the woods over years and years, and you'll see, it fade, and then it gets brittle, and then it kind of just chunks out and dissipates away. Same thing's true with metals. It just rusts and goes away. I asked the teacher, if our town everyone was to disappear, how long would it take before there would be no trace of us ever here? Because sure as it will rain tomorrow, if we was to walk away from our devices that we're using right now to interact with, this stuff will all just fade away. Everything, you're right, Twila, everything is in change, except for the dead. In this dimension, in this realm, when you stop moving, you start dying. That's why everything is in constant motion. That's why I enjoy motion. How else does one get from the present to the future? CERN. Discern. Disconcern. Oh my gosh. I like what David's talking about, man. He's totally on like the UFO, astrophysics side of things. That's what I love about this audience. You guys are so diverse. Let's I wonder if we could get away with talking about CERN tonight. Well, let me go just a little bit farther into Agenda 21. What, the Reich of Terror. Oh my gosh. That's a horrible little image. Trees, rabbits, the sun. Almost looks like a cross with the thing. It is. It's pure wickedness. Agenda 21 cartoons. See, this is kind of where Alex Jones and them messed it up. Because they spoiled this plan or got it out into the consciousness. Maybe it wasn't a mess up. Maybe it was part of their plan. Steps of a local Agenda 21. Encourage the process. Organize the running. Train the relay team. Okay, this is some sort of... That's not the deal. Here we go.
Sustainable development has become the popularized expression for Agenda 21. Agenda 21 is a 1992...
What's up, Sister CJ?
Rio Declaration on the environment and development.
It is the agenda for the 21st century you're living in today. For a brave new world where everything that you cherished and held true will no longer exist.
Agenda 21 defines itself as the comprehensive plan of action to be taken globally, nationally, and locally by organizations of the United Nations systems.
It also elevates nature above man. And it contains something called the precautionary principle.
Did you guys just hear that? It elevates nature above man. Do you guys remember what just came out a couple of days ago? Didn't one of the Great Lakes receive personhood status? Didn't one of the Great Lakes receive personhood status? That's literally putting nature equal to man, but obviously it's going to be above man. Let's continue.
Where basically you're guilty until you're proven innocent.
Sustainable development is the philosophy designed to bring human beings across the globe under the full control of a narrow human elite.
It's a 40-chapter document to basically control the world. It's based entirely on socialist control mechanisms.
Sustainable developers have designed a global movement coordinated through a global to local action plan to create world government in accordance with certain objectives. These objectives include an end to national sovereignty, the abolition of private property.
Yes, David, send a link.
Of the family unit, and increasing limitations and restrictions on mobility and individual opportunity.
The green goal Agenda 21 defines the listings of what's not sustainable.
Okay, hold on. Everything's moving so fast. Lake Erie, legal personhood. Boom, dude. This is so awesome. Right here. This is February 28, 2019, the year of our Lord. It's saying Ohio City votes to give Lake Erie personhood status over algae blooms. See how it's working on, and this is from the Guardian. See how they, Toledo Lake, how they, working it on the local level, and then it just comes right on up. Chinese, bladder, natural, what, you send that. Yeah, I'm going to, hold on. I'm going to post a link here in the chat room. Copy. Here's the link to the article. And this is the link to the Google search. Hey, I just figured out I could have done those times in the chat. So, yeah, my bad. You grow and learn, huh? Copy. And here's the Google link that I use. So you guys can follow along on your Googles. I feel like an old preacher. Who came to church with your Google? Open up your iPads and your Google notebooks. I need you guys to download. Your lesson plan. We're having a Google church service. There will be no torn allowed either. Using them onions. But anyhow, back to the legal rights thing. I respect the earth. I am thankful to the Most High for providing it to us. But the earth is not us. This is the social schizophrenia that I'm talking about. We're so quick to give trees and animals and lakes and rivers personhood status, yet so resistant to show humanity to each other. I mean, for goodness sakes. Let's go here. Dred Scott.
Here is some information about Dred Scott.
Dred Scott was a slave in Missouri. 1833 to 1843. And he was considered not human by virtue of being a slave. Open the new link, peep. This like 1850s. We have to see that this has been all planned out for thousands upon thousands of years. What I think happened is that back in the grand old days of high technology, somebody got their little feelings hurt and they wiped us out. They probably made some sort of DNA replicating situation. And that's why we're in the state we're in. Because this doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make sense that we have Lloyd's of London.
According to Wikipedia, Lloyd's of London, generally known simply as Lloyd's, is an insurance and reinsurance market located in London, United Kingdom.
It doesn't make any sense that Lloyd's of London, through their insurance practices, can truly affect your behavior. Who do you think underwrites all these companies out here? Oh, you don't want nobody like this or nobody like that. Oh, okay, workers, you better do this, you better do that. The whole concept of insurance is to manage risks. So when you put that cargo on the ship and the ship goes down in a storm, you know, because of all the good shipments that went through and all those premiums that were paid, this company can come in and financially fix the situation. Insurance is not a benevolent operation. It's a for-profit endeavor. But not only is it for profit, it's also for making laws and determining policy. We are very fast headed into a medical / insurance Orwellian type state with a heavy-handed police asset. Meaning they will come in and dose you up with whatever concoction they feel necessary. Let me do this like this. Are there countries with real biological weapons?
According to Nuclear Threat Initiative, only 16 countries plus Taiwan have had or are currently suspected of having biological weapons programs. Canada, China, Cuba, France, Germany, Iran, Iraq, Israel, Japan, Libya, North Korea, Russia, South Africa, Syria, the United Kingdom, and the United States.
Keep on thinking it's a game. Let me post this out here. Copy. So those of you following along on your Googles can follow this. Uh-oh. This is way too long. I'm like 20 characters over. So I'm just going to wipe out some of it. Maybe there's enough. There we go. I don't know if that's going to work, but maybe there's enough there to catch. The reason why biological warfare is so devastating, man, you can't hide from it. You know, it's so non-discriminate the way it kills and maims. I'm almost scared to see any images. This is not too bad. They're not showing no people. Oh, speaking of which, hold on. And here's a lovely part. Government secret biological experiments on civilians. Oh, no, Google can't really, whoa. Why is America, the United States rather, unethical experiment in the United States? Well, what about Russia? What about China? Hell, they're cutting up people right now on mobile vans. Always the United States. See, this is what I'm talking about. This is where you got to see the propaganda. You know, once again, United States. We already know. I'm not even going to put this in grace to speak. You know, hold on. Let's ask Google. Let's see if Google is a buddy or a freaking comrade. Secret human experiment Russian government did. The 30 most disturbing human experiments in history. Poison laboratory of the Soviet Union Secret Services. Now, let's go there. Because I'm already seeing up here, this is going to be another kickback to the United States. So let's see what our good chronological. Let's see what Grace has to say about this. And I'm not doing nothing, you know, like pointing out the Russians, like the Russians are bad or nothing. You know, it's not like, you know, the Russians ever dropped a nuclear bomb on anybody.
Chronology. 1921 First poison laboratory within the Soviet Secret Services was established under the name Special Office.
Look at these pictures.
It was headed by Professor of Medicine Ignacy Kazakov, according to Pavel Sudoplatov. 5. 1926 The laboratory was under the supervision of Genrikh Yagoda, a deputy of OGPU chairman Vyacheslav Menjinsky, who became NKVD chief in 1934 after Menjinsky's death. February 20, 1939 it becomes Laboratory 1 headed by Grigory Myranovsky. The laboratory was under the direct supervision of NKVD director Lavron T. Beria and his deputy Vsevolod Merkelov from 1939 to March 1953. March 14, 1953, it was renamed to Laboratory 12. V. Naumov is the newly appointed head. Lavron T. Beria and Vsevolod Merkelov were executed after Stalin's death. Immediate NKVD supervisor of the laboratory, Pavel Sudoplatov, received a long term in prison. 1978 expanded into the Central Investigation Institute for Special Technology within the first Chief Directorate of the KGB. Since 1991, several laboratories of the SVR headquartered in Yasenevo near Moscow are responsible for the creation of biological and toxin weapons for clandestine operations in the West.
I'm sorry, I just found this by accident. Why the U.S. government embraced the occult, rather. And I know why. Because we're evil. Hold on. This might be a somewhat interesting article. Hold on one second. This to here. I'm going to post a link in the chat room so you guys can follow on your Google. Hit us with it, Grace.
In 1952, the U.S. Army asked Duke University to help them develop a program to determine if dogs were psychic. Specifically, to this end, most popular. In 1952, the U.S. Army asked Duke University to help them develop a program to determine if dogs were psychic. Specifically, they wondered, could dogs use extrasensory perception (ESP)? To this end, researchers carried out a series of 48 tests on a beach in Northern California to see if dogs could locate underwater explosives. At first, the results pleased the scientists, who concluded that there was no known way in which the dogs could have located the underwater mines except by extrasensory perception. Most popular. The shameful campaign to silence Ilhan Omar. Ilhan Omar's victory for political sanity. Making Georgia's bad elections even worse. Conservatives coming war on the Warren Court. Winning the White House won't fix our democracy. Let us pause for a minute before going further. A dog's olfactory capabilities are 40 to 50 times greater than those of a human. Its hearing is 4 times stronger. Judging him by human metrics, dogs literally have extrasensory perception. This does not mean, however, that they are psychic or paranormal. And sure enough, further tests failed to deliver any supernatural results. A follow-up program was deemed an utter failure, and researchers noted a rather conspicuous refusal of the dogs to alert. This experiment is only one of the strange streams many of them recently declassified as Annie Jacobson's phenomena. The secret history of the U.S. government's investigations into extrasensory perception and psychokinesis. As with her previous books on Area 51, Operation Paperclip, the secret project to bring Nazi rocket scientists to the U.S. after the war, and DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, which develops new technology for the Defense Department. This one begins with the fallout of World War II and the extreme measures the military-industrial complex took to unlock and weaponize psychic abilities in the early days of the Cold War. Spanning over 50 years, Jacobson's tale takes us from the immediate post-war years to the CIA's experiments in the 1960s and 70s. The Defense Department, she tells us, began its own experiments in the 1980s and 90s before their final incarnation, Project Stargate, was finally decommissioned in 1995. Although Jacobson's book demonstrates an alarming pattern of government activity, the phenomena themselves are what makes her book so fascinating, and often troubling. My intention for this book, she writes, was not to prove or disprove anyone or any concept, but to report objectively on the government's long-standing interest in ESP and PK phenomena. That being said, she cuts these charlatans.
That being said, we know why. All right? When you're dealing with these people who love demons, devils, evil, they love power. They want to be able to not save people from burning buildings using telekinesis. They want to be able to pick you up and strangle you and burst your organs just for fun. I was talking the other day about when the hammer finally comes down. There's not going to be no two ways about it. It's coming. Just how many people are going to pretend like they never saw it coming? Oh, I never knew it was this bad. I never knew they were this evil. But it is just that bad. And they really are just that evil.
A couple of the examples include private property.
728 lists fossil fuels.
Golf courses and ski lodges are not.
Consumerism.
Irrigation is not sustainable.
Paved roads.
Commercial agriculture.
Herbicides, pesticides. Elsewhere, it lists farmlands, pastures, grazing of livestock.
And the family unit. The focus of sustainable development is the abolition of private property, societal undermining of the family, and abandonment of the constitutional protection of unalienable rights as described in the Declaration of Independence. You see, I sat on the Santa Cruz Agenda 21 committees. Now, this was a lot of crazy ideas. This was back in the mid-90s. Crazy ideas I heard. Mother Earth's surface wasn't to be scratched. Human beings were to be concentrated into human settlement zones. Educational systems were to focus on the environment as the central organizing principle. All aspects of life were covered. Well, I went to these committees at the request of some people who told me that I needed to understand what was going on. And I came back and I said, this is craziness. This is so silly. It has no chance of having any effect on our society. Well, I was wrong.
The United States government's support for Sustainable Development, Agenda 21, is very clear. In 1992, while the Rio Conference was going on, George Bush, then president, was there, where he executed the Agenda 21 protocols on behalf of the United States and brought it back to Washington, D.C. Within a year, Bill Clinton, by executive order, no congressional review, established the President's Council for Sustainable Development. In Santa Cruz, we've got a 2-lane freeway system. We need 4, but what we're getting is hundreds of millions of dollars of federal money to take a dilapidated rail line that Southern Pacific wants to put in the hands of somebody else so that a commuter line can be built along the railroad track. That'll be followed by 14-story buildings where people will live in stack-em and pack-em units, where developers, or so-called sustainable developers, will build these high-rises with federal dollars. In fact, Santa Cruz has received a $300 million federal grant to build the first 3,000 of these stack-em and pack-em units. The County Board of Supervisors said, if you are a sustainable developer, you're immune from any construction defect liability. It's a partnership between selected developers building this new world order and the government using the American taxpayer dollars in order to do it. This is a map of the Wildlands Project. To explain the map, the red are areas that are to be off limits to human beings. No resource development, no human activity. If you live there, you won't. The yellow areas are the areas for major control of all human activity. If you live there, you won't. The black areas, the black dots, are the smart growth zones. That's where human beings are to be stacked and packed in small living units along rail tracks. The smart growth program ultimately has jobs assigned and children cared for by the state.
The question has been asked many times how the people who are perpetrating these things expect to do this and make it last. And the answer to that is that you steal a generation of children and you indoctrinate them so that they accept these ideas and they become global citizens in the coming global village. UNESCO came out and declared 2005 to 2015 the decade of education for sustainable development. But they go on to say that it will encompass the 40 chapters of Agenda 21. That is your federal national curriculum. The entire purpose of second grade social studies is to transfer loyalty from the family to the government and teach them about sustainable economic consumption. Students construct their own understandings of reality and realize that objective reality is not knowable. So why bother? The truth is, the truth which keep men free is being suppressed in order to prop up the attitude training agenda. And it moves on. This is our new math called connected mathematics. Standard 3 tells us that students learn that mathematics is man-made, that it is arbitrary, and good solutions are arrived at by consensus. Most of us assume 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. You're wrong. We might reach a new consensus. How well does it work? Well, they tell you in the teacher's guide in the back, it tells us that because the curriculum doesn't emphasize arithmetic computations done by hand, some students may not do as well on tests assessing computational skills. We believe such a trade-off in the favor of CMP is very much to the student's advantage in the world of work. Our children are mathematically illiterate on purpose. How do I know on purpose? Why isn't this just a basic bad idea? Because the Sustainable Development Plan tells us so. Generally, more highly educated people who have higher incomes consume more resources than poorly educated people who tend to have lower incomes. In this case, more education increases the threat to sustainability. Charlotte Iserby, I owe you an apology. I did not believe for the longest time it was a deliberate dumbing down. I thought that dumbing down was a natural
thing that disaffects black folks. I'm sure he did. Listen, now that this is being rolled out on everybody, those survivors of it, you know the stakes. Hold on. Brother Albert. The moon and the sun is within our atmosphere. So how do these cities on the planet? Hold on. Let me finish this agenda movie and then we'll answer that.
Consequence of a bad idea. Folks, it's deliberate. It's deliberate.
The sustainable globalist goal is the orchestration of a planned fall of American principles, values, and lifestyles. The effect on the average American will be devastating. With modernizing technology, the ordinary person will live without independence privacy, or substantive rights.
Another press conference that I attended was the ICLEI group, the International Committee for Local Environmental Initiatives. It helps in the implementation of Agenda 21 in all of our local communities. And one of the speakers was a Harvey Reuven, who happens to be the vice chair of ICLEI. And I asked him about the correlative rights that Americans derive from the United States Constitution and the Bill of Rights. And that, of course, is your individual liberties, your private property, your freedom of speech. Asked about it clashing with Agenda 21. And you know what his response was? Individual rights must take a back seat to the collective.
And this transhumanist agenda, ain't it cool, man? It's being pushed by the mainstream media all over the world as a good thing. And this is the process that they've pulled people in on. They want to get in the body and connect the brain to AI. So you start with holdables, technology you can hold, smartphones, tablets. You get people addicted to them, brackets, achieved. A third of American babies now play with smartphones before they can walk and talk. The record numbers in hospital after walking into traffic. It's an addiction, digital heroin. Digital heroin, how screens turn kids into psychotic junkies. Half of families text each other in the same house. Experts say tech craze could have catastrophic effect on family life. What I've been saying through today, one of the major agendas is to destroy the family unit, to drive families apart, like men from women and all these other divisions. Why is it that technology like Siri, Office assistants and from Apple and these others was seed funded by DARPA and seed funded by the CIA? 14 cutting edge firms funded by the CIA. This coming through Silicon Valley, not from it. And then you go to stage 2. You've got them addicted to this. Now wearables. You want to get in the body, but get on it first. So you have your Bluetooth and your Google Glass and your smartwatch and your stitching circuitry into your shirt to get a better signal. Oh, God, beam me up, Scotty. It's mad down here, mate. One step from the microchip, the electronic tattoo, and then stage 3. And we're heading there now. We're going into it now. Implantables, get inside the body. When I was in Sweden, people were getting microchipped in Sweden. They're having parties to celebrate. Oh, Bill's getting microchipped. Let's have a party. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's very sensible. You know, let's celebrate the fact you're giving your mind away. Yeah, what a great thing to celebrate. US Navy discussed plans to fit humans with microchips and track their every move. I said in a book called And the Truth to Set You Free in the 1990s, I wrote it in 1994, that they would sell the microchip to parents by saying,
here's the link. Here's a link to this video that we're breaking down right here in the chat room there. That was David Icke talking, but there were several people that was on the video. Listen, everything that was said on video been said on the show, been said by others. But what Brother Albert, Brother David were talking about, the secret, you're welcome, Frederick, and welcome to the show, by the way, brother. The secret basis on the moon or on Mars, you know. Remember yesterday when I asked a very simple question. Question I asked, where are all the missing children and women and men at? I mean, is there some sort of volcano all the bodies are being dumped in, or tons of landfill, you know? Because yesterday what we pulled up, 250 plus million women in 2017 or children or female children. Sorry guys, I have a very dry throat. I've been sick. But we're just making it happen. Yeah, that's the question I want to answer. Where are these folks at? Or at least their remains? Brother Albert, they can't get to Mars because of the fermentation or the ferment and the Van Allen hyperbelta radiation. Thus, the Antarctic base or Area 51. I want to see if they have, oh, that was that one, but that was a different one. We were watching, that was David I. Here's the Agenda 21 video link, copy. I don't know how it jumped. This computer of mine just jumps from time to time, but that was, this is the Agenda 21 video I just posted, and that was what we were listening to. Now, it seems like these people had really no problem as long as they felt it was just black folks, so they'll be caught up in the whirlwind. But then once they realize, no, you know, you peons are going as well, then all of a sudden, like, oh my God, we got to stop the New World Order. Oh my God. All right. I wish people would truly listen to George Carlin when comically saying, hey, there's a big group out there. They got big plans, or a big club. Big plans, or you're not part of it. I'm telling you, you're not a part of it. That's why we're doing the show and create the movement. The first true human movement for everybody who wants to survive this thing. Yeah, and I truly get it. A lot of people don't want to survive. You know, a lot of people are just waiting for, oh my God, look at that. That is just so gnarly. A lot of people are just waiting for the bomb to blow up over their, you know, heads and peace out. But I know a lot of you guys want to continue on. All right, let's do another. What is the debt of the United States? Well, the U.S. basically has $22 trillion in debt. Now, over the weekend, I said, watch the markets this coming up week. You should really see some market volatility. And you will. Just as Agenda's 21 theme was unsustainability, unsustainability, unsustainability. So is our current currency situation. The petrodollar. It's unsustainable because of this. Hold on.
Stressful job! This is a stressful job! All right! All right!
Hey, take a deep
All right, now! Stop talking back to me! God damn it!
I'm not talking back to
Yes, you are!
I'm trying
I'm fucking gonna quit right now!
I'm trying
You want me to just quit right now? Everybody should fucking walk! Does everybody want to fucking walk out? All right? Stop talking back to me! This is a stressful job!
I'm calling 911. You are out of control.
Just get out the...
This is, now you notice, oh, girl here doesn't hop on that phone to the, oh, please. I mean, this is a guy driving the fucking bus. And you should ask yourself, why are all these human beings on this bus to begin with? Agenda 21. Plain and simple. You know why? Check this out. Let me go over here to this other. New cars New cars, right here. And that's I can almost pick anyone. Stop. Okay, yeah, let's use this one.
Rich Crisp and Thins have big flavor. Win or lose, rich flavor makes any game day rich.
And this. Okay, this is coming from AP. Wow. How come I'm not hearing nothing?
Economy.
Really? Oh my God. Hold on.
You know, we've seen a lot of stories about, you know, a lot of problems and challenges there at the car dealerships. And this is where we're seeing it from the port's perspective, is this backlog here on the docks.
It's not a backlog on the docks. These cars are so expensive, most people can't afford them. But they got to keep those car workers working. So they'll just park these cars. There's massive lots. Hold on. Let me find it better. Because
when automakers have unsold cars, they often ship them to locations where the automobiles sit until they fall apart. An article in Zero Hedge claims that the lots are vast graveyards for unsold cars, but other observers are challenging the charges. One of these massive parking lots for unsold cars is in Sheerness in North Kent, England. There are hundreds of similar lots around the world, including more than 57,000 rotting cars in one location in Baltimore. The report claims that sales of new cars has been declining over the last few years, leaving millions of cars without an owner. They sit in giant lots, unused and unmaintained. As manufacturers produce more cars, the companies buy more land around the auto graveyards to contain the vehicles. Zero Hedge stated that, quote, the car industry would never sell these cars at massive reductions in their prices to get rid of them. No, they still want every buck. If they were to price these cars for a couple thousand, they would sell them. However, nobody would then buy any expensive cars, and then they would end up being unsold. Many of these giant lots are visible on Google Maps, including a former
Okay. So basically, I want to put that now. This is why we have the bus driver going nuts.
Stop talking back to me! This is a stressful job! Just get off the bus. I'm having a stressful day. I don't want to hear you back talk. Let me just vent. I'm just venting. I'm 7 minutes down. I'm sick and tired. It's not all right. I'm going to get written up for it. You don't do my job. You don't know what you're talking about.
But I know you got to be a good job or you wouldn't be here. You need to chill.
Just let me vent and don't talk back. Just ignore me. The best thing you can do. See, you're not ignoring me. You're talking back.
I am telling you to calm down.
I don't want to calm down.
You need to because you are out of control.
I'm sick and tired of people criticizing me. You've never done this job before.
I know.
His job, right? And then, oh boy, and then he jumps in the thing and watch him drive. Watch
You're not breaking any laws. You can't call.
No.
There's human beings and there's people who just
Now she's calling the cops.
to be standing up and we apologize.
It's not the rule. It's just a courtesy. It's not even the rule. It's
Do you
courtesy.
hear him? Okay.
I would not.
I have a right to speak.
No.
I would not want to be on this bus driver with this guy flipping out.
I have a right to speak. Metro's not going to do anything. I have a right to speak. I'm only speaking. There's no law against. Let me talk to him. There's no law against speaking. I can speak. There's no law against it.
Look at flash that green light.
There's no law against speaking. There's no law against yelling. There's no law against it.
No. Look how fast this shit's going by. All right. So the reality is, excuse me, guys. The reality is, this guy's flipping out because of the greater economic pressures that's forcing him in that seat, toting all those people around, right? When in reality, look at all these damn cars all over the world. Lots like this, all these damn cars. How much plastic, how much metal, how much gold and platinum is all tied? Because don't forget, all those cars have catalytic converters. Catalytic converters have gold and platinum in them. That's why you can't go to any junkyard and buy a catalytic converter. Has shit to do with the environment. Well, David, Becky showed up with old girl because she called. once he starts driving fast and shit, old girl right here does call. But I'm saying, this old girl, old boy, they all could be driving one of these damn cars. Hell, the government could buy these cars and give them away to people. But he's right. The moment that happens, then no one will buy a car at full price ever again. And they know this. They'll rather let this up. No, fuck that. They want this to go because they're making too much money the way it is now. It's called, it's like De Beers with the diamond. It's artificial demand. Not cost and demand, but wanting demand and supply and demand, rather. I don't know why it was so hard to remember that. They artificially keep the supply down so the demand stays up. So keep on playing your damn games, man. Keep on jumping on the fucking bus. Once again, work is not the answer. It's cause and clarity of purpose and cause. Look at these people. Look at them. They're risking their lives trying to get to the work to make somebody.
I'm not breaking any laws. You can't call Metro on me. I'm not breaking any laws. Metro's not going to do nothing. I'm not breaking any laws.
Imagine how many times you've been saying that.
I'll call Metro. I'm yelling.
Oh my God. And another thing you want to ask yourself to show you what type of peasants you are. Here's this bus operated by a private company. But how come they're not required to have seat belts? How come we can stand up in this bus and hold on? If that bus flips over, you'll be flying out these damn windows, just like a car. And buses do flip over. You see, here's the gag. Here's the gag. First, you have all these damn cars they don't sell, right? Think about it. If all these cars were on the road, right? And cars were next to nothing, no one would need what? Car insurance. Think about it. Nobody would need, because, I mean, how many people have bike insurance? How many people have, Nike shoe insurance? Because there's so many of them. You wouldn't need it. See how this all the suppressing of resources keeps the gag going? And every time you see a wealthy, rich billionaire, millionaire, you're seeing a fucking hoarder. You're seeing someone playing the game and they're on the winning team. But most of you guys are just going to see someone you want to emulate. Oh, golly gee, I want to be just like him. Really? Because a lot of these people have to do some very nasty things to become rich. This is just sad, man. This is right here.
This is New York. This is New York. Everybody late. Everybody.
Look at that. Look at all those people stuck on that bus like sardines. When we have these cars right here, all these cars. But we got to keep us supply and demand.
It's New York. You want to be on top?
Oh, I don't want it.
Girl, we're not gonna do it today. And your face looks like somebody stomped on it. She's ugly. Look at her.
I could be 400.
Look at her.
But guess what? I'm still a real woman. He got to do all.
You're gonna be on World Star with that ugly ass.
Ain't that the truth? A real woman versus a fake woman. And hey, would you rather have a real hamburger or an imitation hamburger? That's all I gotta say.
Apple pie head and that fucked up face. You wanna get where we gotta go? Yeah, she go. She started it. I'ma finish it. Yeah.
Disgusting. I can't handle that too much, man. But see, people are just acting crazy. And this is YouTube. YouTube will have all this nasty, not nasty, this is supposed to be funny. But if you was to type twerk up in here, all that jump up. You type sex, all that. But if you put any of this on your, see, apparently these are chosen channels. They're chosen somehow. They can have all this filth on it. But the moment you try to do this with your channel, you're going to be shut down. Now, I'm not advocating filth or nothing like that. I'm just letting it be known. But let's go to Moonbase. Moonbase. I ain't forgot. See, they're playing it off like we don't have one yet. Hold on. Something it shouldn't have. Listen.
You must see this.
This Wednesday. Oh, come on.
Taken from the street in 7 months break.
Most people are abducted by someone they love.
How's your marriage? You think I hired someone to kidnap my wife? Was that what I asked?
Hey, it's funny. We were just talking about disappearing people, and now there's commercials.
It's happening, and you're still facts and figures guy, I take it. No, I am, but no, I'm into the whole consciousness thing.
I actually wrote a book called The Choice, which was all about physics and consciousness and how it's interconnected and astrology.
Go in and request a copy of a photograph. Are we still good? And they would get it in front. The middle room was where scientists, people could request looking at some of the pictures and films and the negatives and the positive transfer.
I don't know. I'm getting phony astronaut vibe here. I'm not buying that film. But flat Earth versus round Earth. Hold on.
You think that with the beautiful photographs that we have of our round blue planet...
Hold on, guy. Hold on. I'm not going to let this propaganda go by. First and foremost, there is not one single picture of the Earth in its entirety. One still shot from NASA. They are all composites and or artists, basically airbrush and rendition. All right, so I want to say that. But that being said, this is some straight up National Geographic BS propaganda that they're feeding to our kids, and I think that we all should be aware of what they're saying.
It would convince any doubters, but there are still some who insist that the world is flat. Correspondent Mariana Vanzella discovers more about this fast-growing movement in California.
That's the famous blue marble that everybody's seen. But let me tell you something about that famous shot. It's not a photo at all, man. It was made in Photoshop. 'Cause there ain't no photographs, but somebody tell me why. They're all just photographs.
I'm Mariana Vanzeller, and I'm in Southern California to look into a growing movement in America. People who claim the Earth is flat. They call themselves the Flat Earthers, and we're here to try to understand what's behind this unconventional view and how it can affect the rest of us. So what's happening here today? Why are you here?
This matters to me. Flat Earth shows you that you are not a mistake and you were created, and so you have meaning and you matter to the world. You know? We're not monkeys floating through space on a ball as an accident.
It's not testable, it's not measurable, it's not provable, it's not real.
Right. How old are you guys, just out of curiosity?
27.
Do you think it's a growing movement?
Yes. And we're networking, getting stronger. People are realizing it. It's coming out in the media. You're hearing the term flat Earth is becoming more normal. People are more open-minded to it.
He's not wrong. A recent survey of Americans found that 2% believe the Earth is flat. For the U.S. population as a whole, that works out to be over 6.5 million people. Even high-profile artists and athletes are getting on board.
Flat.
So I want to try to find Mark Sargent, who's one of the leaders of the Flat Earth community.
Nice to see you, man. No, we met at Pasadena.
Mark used to design video games and run software trainings. Now he devotes himself full-time to promoting the Flat Earth.
Absolutely.
Hi. See, with all the attention that you must be Mark Sargent.
I am Mark Sargent.
Thanks for meeting us here.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell me, what is this movement all about?
This movement is about changing the world, literally. You think for the longest time that you live here. But what if it wasn't this? What if this was just the illusion? Yeah, we're going to open this thing up. And the reality looked something like this. In a nutshell, you have the North Pole at the center, the continents splayed out organically on the sides. Antarctica is stretched around the entire outer edge like an ice wall. The sun and the moon are very, very small, and the stars are just lights in the sky. A giant planetarium, which means it was built by somebody. Someone bigger than us, someone better than us.
Do you think it was a god?
Not my place to say.
Your belief in the Earth being flat flies in the face of
hundreds of years
of evidence, of scientific evidence that the world is round. Not only that, but we have satellite imagery. We have photos from space that prove that the Earth is round.
Right. And nobody here believes any of that anymore.
Oh, it's beautiful, Mike. It really is.
So you don't believe that people traveled in space?
No. Oh, it's much worse than you know.
Okay.
Meaning, the only reason NASA was founded in 1958 was to keep this thing under wraps as best they could.
Why? Why?
Think of the shock waves. If all of a sudden you're telling a civilization that this model, this isn't it anymore, flat Earth is the last conspiracy anyone ever looks at.
Mark and his fellow flat earthers seem to be pretty convinced that the Earth is flat and that we've all been lied to for all these years. But I'm interested in knowing what kind of impact this might have, not only for science, but for society at large. So we're heading to meet with an astrophysicist that we hope can answer some of these questions.
The universe began about 14 billion years ago, an event that we call the Big Bang.
James Bullock is a professor of physics and astronomy at the University of California, Irvine.
I'm sorry, but before we continue on, can someone please explain scientifically how can we determine the age of the universe? Seriously. In simple terminology, and you know, I can tell you how we determine, you know, this is so far away. How can we do it? Because it takes faith to believe all the scientific gobbledygook. It takes faith to believe that all the energy was at this one point and then it explodes outwards. It really does take faith to believe that versus God put all this stuff together. And the reason why you don't know is because you're really not meant to focus on all this. This is sort of just a big ass test room so you can get your conscience right. Ready for the next step. Or perhaps maybe this is some sort of spiritual rehabilitation program. You know, like we're all in cosmic jail. But then that has some very negative connotations. That means that everybody's dirty. What's up, Brother Derek? Listen to the debate in the song formatted Rhinos. Hold on. I wonder if I could play that song without copyright. You know what I'm saying? If you have the link, post the link for me in the chat and I'll grab it up. But I'm just concerned about copyrights. Guess I'm really not that too concerned. Let's put this over here.
Attending this event. Please have a seat and settle in. We're about to begin. In debates over this topic, we're seeing an influx. So instead of wasting time, let's get right down to the crux. Now, traditionally, we've all been taught for many years that this planet Earth that we're living on is just a sphere. The panelists to my right will attempt to prove that, while the panelists to my left will try to prove that it's flat. Okay, you first. Well, anyone with common sense would know that in actuality, the Earth could only be a globe. This theory of a flat planet is just a fabrication. There's years of documented ship circumnavigation. You liars came along and eliminated the truth. The ancient scholars have all demonstrated the proof. We have days, nights, time zones that happen as we spun, verifying that we're absolutely circling the sun. We're not circling the sun. The sun's above us. They lie. Day and night is a result of it moving from side to side. The principles of how are not hard to uncover. When it's shining on one side, there's darkness on the other. The sun's 93 million miles away. No, it's not. It's closer and smaller than what they taught you and not as hot. No revolving in an upward direction. We propel. The sun sits over the flat earth and the moon does as well. What the hell? You're speaking so miscellaneously. Where's the evidence to back the way that you claim it to be? So I need you to explain this to me. If the sun's above a flat earth, we should all see it simultaneously. Okay. Next question. You can both issue your case. If the earth is flat, explain the globe pictures from space. There's satellites that take shots and photos are captured. Those are fake computer-generated images from NASA. They've lied on many things for the illusion of advancing. And please don't even get me started on that moon landing. The pictures keep changing, so it's obvious they did it. If you research their documents about it, they'll admit it. They covered up the truth for years, believe it or not. It's all just a fake government-engineered plot. Well, I have a question since NASA is our space station. Its locations in the U.S. What about the other nations? See, many countries have space programs that excel, and they all have pictures of a globe Earth as well. You're failing to see this thing as a collective endeavor because you don't believe that other countries conspire together. If the Earth is flat, couldn't you go to the edge and fall? No, sir. The edge is blocked by the Antarctica wall. There's a block of ice surrounding the planet, totally frozen. This is the barrier that keeps everything enclosed. The governments of the world know all of them are in it, and it's strange how that part of the planet is off limits. All right, back to the globe guy. Present your next claim. Yes, sir. I've seen the curvature of Earth while on a plane. It's the same with an astronaut. No, with all due respect, that curve you think you see is called the fishbowl effect. That window was probably convex and round too, so naturally the surface seems curved when you look through. And another thing that I would like to easily disprove, if the Earth is spinning so fast, why don't we feel it move? Well, I'm not surprised that that's the point that you'd rationalize and not take into account the Earth is massive in size and moving at a steady rate of speed that stays the same, so the movement isn't seldom less than miles per hour change. That's insane. We fly off of the planet spinning around, and please don't try to say that the gravity keeps us down. Gravity's a non-existent force that can't be grasped clearly. The physiological function of it is only theory, so the concept is a lie. There's no pull on the tides. We live on the top. There's no one on the bottom or the side. There's a question upon which I'd like my counterpart to expound. How come just the Earth is flat and the other planets are round? Mars, Neptune, Jupiter, Venus, even the sun. Because the telescope can clearly show the shape of each one. Please explain the traveling over horizons by ships and the curved shadow on the moon in a lunar eclipse. Yo, one question at a time, bro. You hogging the mic. Flat Earth guy, the floor is yours. Take as long as you like. Well, your horizon question, I'll answer it in an instant. The ship's disappearance is all a matter of distance. And as for the lunar eclipse, it's an easy battle. The circular form of the moon dictates the shadow. So no matter what the shape of the object that's hovering, its shadow takes the form of the object it's covering. And as for other planets being round, that's a no-go. What you see in your telescope is different from the NASA photo. Okay, that's it. It's over. No more time left to debate this. We're glad that both of you were able to present your cases. So let me give my point of view before we close out. Flatter globe is more important things in life to worry about.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm digging that beat, man. I like that beat and I like that flow. For real. I never heard of this brother, man. I like that. I like that a lot. You know, listen, that one verse, man, because you fail to realize that countries conspire together. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's always been about. While you're busy looking at the wizard, they're getting down behind the curtain. That's what it's always been about. And that's why they're trying to really get rid of this internet. That's why they're trying to get rid of independent, basically media outfits like myself. You know, I have no allegiance to no one except for you guys, the audience. You know, as far as where I get my show ideals and all that. You know, I'm shocked. The executive producer not up in the house tonight. Well, of course, it is rather early in the morning. But the thing is, we come together, and every time we do these live shows, we go places where we never expect to go. We talk about things that we want to talk about, not some suit or skirt in a cubicle somewhere. Oh, these people are going to get this information whether they like it or not. They're trying to wipe out the thinkers and believers of the truth. Yeah, amen. Brother Albert, you're so right. The worst thing anyone can say nowadays is, I want to serve the real, true God. I want to be one of his servants, and I want him to love me. That's the worst thing you can say, and be sincere about it. Because people will come after you. What do you mean you want to be a servant to God? You know, you want to be a king in hell, don't you? No. I want no part of that. God is life. The rest of it is not life. It's death. K Rhino, y'all.
Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? And when it's time for you to prove yourself, how will you survive? Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? First, I'd like to thank y'all for coming out today. We would ask that you would close your mouth and pay close attention to what we're about to say. My name is Kay, and I'm your moderator in this great debate. We're tackling a topic that's highly prevalent state to state. To my left, an evolutionist atheist. He'll be stating his case against the man to my right, who's a creationist. For the sake of history, a camera specialist is taping this. Did a deity create this, or did we evolve as a basic gist? You, sir. Well, the Bible states in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So everything you see here was his hand at work. This man's a jerk. I've read his books and seen his lectures, even studied all his tapes about how we were life forms that evolved from apes. I asked you, how could a more intelligent being come out of a lesser being? This is the thing with which we're wrestling. The universe and man are God's creation. Just admit it, Pop. If we evolved from apes and apes are still around, why didn't we stop? Created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? And when it's time for you to prove yourself, how will you survive? Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? Okay, your time is up. You get a chance to talk some more, but at this time we need to let our second speaker have the floor. Let's give the same respect to him and not speak all at once. So we'll pass the baton to your opponent now for his response. Well, the concept of life evolving and the way that things were brought in was fathered and authored by Charles Darwin. Your assessment of what we believe was improperly covered. We only speak of how one life form changes into another. You believe in God, but can't prove there's a God, and this is vital. Your theology is based upon a contradicting Bible. You don't worship him, you worship idols and hold self-righteous dispositions. If God is real, why is the world in this condition? I feel humanity has had enough of this lie. You praise the spirit that allows people to suffer and die. And no matter how much you pray and look up to the sky, things remain corrupt. All right, your time's up to rebut and reply. Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? And when it's time for you to prove yourself, how will you survive? Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? Right now, this debate is winding down. We're finding out some things now, so we'll let the evolutionists start this time around. As for the universe, we've never said who made it. Evolution is not the theory of how life originated. Your failed connection and theory rejection is only evidence of your lack of comprehension of the process of natural selection. Well, motion and order are the first two laws of the universe. We don't agree that stars and planets are the results of a big burst. Think of the perfect celestial trajectory, how things operate successfully with intricate, detailed complexity.
Can you believe this idiot sitting next to me? So you're speaking scientifically, prove God did it and break it down specifically.
I've done that through the scriptures. What you've heard is the truth. Whether it's Bible or Quran, see, God's word is the proof. And I agree, I'm speaking scientifically. We're in compliance. But my last question to you would be, who created science?
Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe? And when it's time for you to prove yourself, how will you survive? Were we created or did we evolve? How did we arrive? What's the purpose of our existence? Why are we alive? Tell me, who do you believe in? To what do you subscribe?
That song. I like that. Thank you, brother Derek. K Reno. Right on, man. The brother had it. He had it. You know, he was talking the real. Who do you subscribe to? Good or evil? It's just that simple. And you make your choices whether you want to say them or not by the way you act. And on that note, guys, I gotta get to bed. Got a long day tomorrow. Just want to say thank you and bless you all. Just thank you. May you all be safe. You join me all again on the next show. Together, we go into the future stronger because we're together. Stronger because we seek the truth. This has been Special Report. I'm True Power's Mind. As always, live your life with integrity, without hate, envy, or greed. And as always, let's try to be kinder to each other. Peace.